COVID and the murder of George Floyd pointed out, highlighted what we already knew, that the black community has been left back for a long time and hundreds of years. That's not to say we don't have the greatest nation on the planet. I'm not diminishing that, but we should also look at the flaws and start to fix them. So this society needs to do it, public policy, but what can companies do? And I'm actually gratified. They've seen a lot of companies, white CEOs, raise their hands and say, we have to do more. And so this $30 billion effort it's huge. I mean, it's one of the biggest you've ever seen. And these are big numbers, $8 billion of mortgages for Black and Latinx, $12 billion of affordable housing, $350 million of small business, a lot of financial education. But at the end of the day, it happens here. Okay, so I can make any announcement I want, but you have to say, how many loans did you make in my neighborhood? So we've done deep analysis about, I think there's 7,000 census tracts where we should add mortgage loan officers. This is one of 16 community branches. And so I've now been to one in LA, Detroit, Minneapolis, Chicago, Harlem. And it's a whole new kind of thing. You can see it's much bigger. We want to be very welcoming. We have local art. We use local vendors. We're going to do financial education here for mothers and ex-felons, and we're going to have seminars and allow small businesses to show their wares here and do seminars for small businesses. And we want to be part of the community. And so this is where it's going to take place. And we'll have a wealth manager here, so to help people learn how to save their money and things like that. So yeah, we think we can help. I think the government, we need really good public policy. So I'm not going to take the burden off the government about our inner city schools haven't been doing their jobs for years. You'd think maybe someone would raise their hand and say, let's fix that. I'm generally in favor of things like that. Government, very often some government mandates don't do exactly what they're supposed to do. So I'm in favor of it. And we open, and we've been doing it for years. I mean, we were in Harlem, like 100 years ago. But so a lot of banks open branches in LMI neighborhoods. That doesn't necessarily mean they go into the low-income neighborhoods. A lot of people do affordable housing. It doesn't necessarily mean affordable housing works the way you want it to work here. Sometimes it causes gentrification, which is not exactly what you want. So, and some things don't count. I'm not sure when we do financial education here, it counts at all under CRA. So this is just a different way of doing it. I'm in favor of CRA. I think it probably did help. It probably had some negatives. Like a lot of government programs, it's gotten kind of old and slow and a lot of barnacles on it and confusing and punitive and things like that. But both for CRA and for that 30 bill, we call it the path forward, there are very specific, how many loan officers, how many mortgages are we going to make in the south side of Chicago? How many did we make last year? How many did we make this year? So you're talking about 5 mortgages, 20 mortgages. That's where it makes sense. So the $8 billion. So we hold our own people accountable. These branches have been smashing success. Then once we finish the 16, then we can start opening more. So all the senior management in the company are kind of fully behind this effort, and and also you live and learn. Some things change and modify over time. Some of that you want because the businesses are successful, and one of the things we use local vendors. They hire local employees. So you're hiring black employees from the community. Sometimes you have a national program. They may not be hiring local people, and they may not be hiring black people at all, but it counts under CRA as a black-owned institution. So we try to be very critical about what works and what doesn't work. And when you look at affordable housing, there are programs around the country and around the world where people had mixed housing that allowed different, lower income, middle income to stay. And I think things like that actually work. I've been going to Howard just about every year for virtually 30 years. So this is a long-term sustained effort. And we hire like 20 kids out of there every year or something like that. And we've now, Howard was very special to us, but we now are going to be recruiting, and we've worked with Clark, Atlanta, Spelman, but I think we're now recruiting and helping 20 HBCUs, and reaching out and trying to hire a lot more black people, and We have a thing called Advancing Black Pathways, and we make sure that they're getting opportunity inside the company when they get here. Peter Scheer here started us on the Second Chance initiative. So last year we hired 2,000 former felons.
And for what kind of positions?
Anywhere from teller to call center to mortgage officer to operations. You should get the numbers. The tellers, I mean, there was a great story. There was one of our senior black guys who was at a thing where they were talking about jobs, and there was like 300 or 400 people in the room. I think the story is accurate. I may be embellishing a little bit. Okay. And some wealthy white lady stands up and says, "Those jobs are dead-end jobs." And he was talking about teller jobs. Right. She was talking about it. And this guy stands up and he says, "Ma'am, my name is such and such and such and such. I'm responsible for hiring 40,000 people here for JPMorgan Chase. I'm a managing director, and I started as a teller." We should never diminish starter jobs. Jobs bring dignity. How many people started as a burger flipper and ended up owning a McDonald's? So a lot of our branch managers started as tellers. A lot of our private bankers started as tellers. And so that's there. But we try to create that opportunity. We've got training programs, et cetera. And not everyone wants to stay in banking, so they go do something else. That's fine too. So, the starter jobs are great. And I think, elite society makes a mistake, huge mistake, making fun of them. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal many, many years ago about a black entrepreneur who started as a burger flipper, and they wrote about that this guy ended up owning 80 or 90 McDonald's, one of the biggest owners of McDonald's franchise, and that's how he started. And he opened franchisees in black communities, and most of the people who acted in his stores were black. That we should be celebrating that, and not talking about it's a burger flipper job. The military does a great job teaching young kids to show up on time, be part of a team, and I think the second best trainer in the world might be McDonald's. Not that they want to stay in those jobs, but you got to start somewhere. No, the other message is not just what companies can do, but I spent a lot of time. And did we give her my chairman's letter? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That last part about public policy, if you want to bend the curve for everybody, that is so important. Mm-hmm. And if we keep on getting some of that stuff wrong, which we've done now for 20 or 30 years, it's holding back the lower income part of our society. It's hurting job creation, it's hurting income, it's hurting health, it's hurting infrastructure, it's hurting inner city schools, it's hurting kids who in those schools. That is so important. So we spend a lot of time on that, which is not the same thing as in the community, but is equally important.